forget exactly how old I was, but it was still the 90s, so I said about 8 or 9. I've always been a big fan of stargazing, and my parents had bought me a telescope for Christmas this year before. It was now summer, and the stars were out in an abundance that night, as per usual. My clock said it was around 9 p.m. I got out my telescope, positioned it on the stand, and gazed for a while. I came across a rather bright star in the night sky. I zoomed in for a closer look, and it shone brighter. It dazed me, and I fell off my stand, banged my head, and blacked out. When I came to, it was about 1:30 in the morning. My mom was so worried, and she said I'd been gone. She asked me where the hell I'd even been. One thing you'd have to understand about my home neighborhood at the time was that to leave my home, I'd need to go downstairs, past the living room where my parents were the whole time, and go out the front door to a cul-de-sac where everyone knew everyone. But nobody had seen me leave or heard me leave. I just vanished. To this day, my mom wouldn't even speak of it, and I had no idea whether it had happened, and my mom is just trying to bury the memory, or whether I imagined it. The next bit, however, is where it gets disturbing. A couple of nights after this, I was lying in my bed, trying to get some sleep. I was an only child and pretty lonely, so I wouldn't sleep until both my parents and my dog were upstairs and heading to bed, too. I got so used to this regimen that I could recognize who was ascending the stairs based on their way of walking. For my father, it would be a brisk pace, stomping on the steps as he hurried up. For my mother, it was a slow shuffling. For my dog, it resembled the sound of horse galloping. I'd also like to point out that the structure of my room at the time meant not only did the door open towards my bed so that I could not see who came through until they had passed the width of the open door, but that the cupboard was directly opposite my door, so shadows would be a good indication of who was entering my room at night. Again, I knew my family's outlines very well, making it easy to distinguish who was coming in. This night, however, may not sound scary, but it is the result of much therapy and horrific nightmares, the likes of which I could not begin to describe to you. On the occasion this memory creeps into my dreams, I wake up feeling like I've had a near-fatal heart attack. On one occasion, I stopped breathing in my sleep. All I remember is it being a very late night. My door was open a crack, as usual, to allow some light in. I began hearing thuds downstairs. Even that young, I naturally assumed it was my golden retriever, Barney, stumbling around. Then I heard someone ascend the stairs. But it wasn't a shuffle. It wasn't a brisk stomping, nor was it galloping. It was a series of labored thuds, like something being lifted up and successfully dropped, though not with much impact. These thuds got closer and closer to the top of the stairs, before ceasing. As they did, a dragging sound started. When it approached my door, it was gently pushed open. The last thing I remember is the 3-joint tall shadows slowly rising up my wall. I never saw what came past my door, or rather, I don't remember. I went to recovered memory therapy to try to find out what it was, but I ended up reacting very negatively to the situation, going as far as to scream, shout, run to the corner of the room, huddle up and cry silently while rocking back and forth. Someday, I hope to go further and find out what it really was.